Tonight, in a FOX16 Investigates, a system that's supposed to protect victims of violent crimes is also protecting some of their attackers.
Families fear it's a connection issue with Vine. That's an online database that pulls information from jails and courts all across the state.
Our Susan O'Corey pushes to figure out why some offenders don't end up on that list.
It all comes down to something as simple as someone's birthday. Juveniles being tried as adults are not protected by their age in the court's eyes, but they are when it comes to Vine. Some victims and their families found that out the hard way. Flipping the switch to shed light on a terrifying reality.
These were two people who, could have died.
This person doesn't want to hide in the shadows, but feels forced here, trying to mask their identity for their safety.
You never know what he's capable of doing.
They're afraid of 16-year-old Eric Hall, who's charged with shooting two people they know and is now out of jail and threatening the victims and their families, who say they never got a heads up about his release.
We feel like, of course, the system has failed.
Back in January, police surrounded these West Little Rock apartments off Napa Valley Drive. They say Hall shot Davion Marbley and Kiera Watson multiple times, leaving both injured and one critically.
There were several people around. Several cars were hit with bullets.
Normally, Hall's name and mugshot would be hidden since state law protects juveniles accused of crimes. But in this case, a judge decided Hall should be charged as an adult. Still, Hall's information never ended up on Vine, a state-run database meant to help victims and their families follow their accused attacker through the court system.
They do something on an adult level, but we're protecting them as a child. That doesn't make sense.
It became a bigger issue in April when Hall's case was postponed because of COVID-19. At the same time, his lawyer filed this, asking to drop Hall's bond, in part because of the pandemic. Pulaski County Circuit Court Judge Barry Sims agreed, and Hall's bond went from $750,000 to $150,000. About a week later, Hall made bail. All things the victims and their families could have gotten Vine notifications for, but never did.
Pretty much found out via social media or word of mouth.
Days after Hall was released, this picture popped up on his Instagram, captioned, "The person who told on me should have died." That post is now part of court records. Prosecutors used it as evidence in this request to revoke Hall's bond. It goes on to say one of the victims received a call from an anonymous number and was told that they were sitting outside his mother's house, and if he came to court and testified, that they would kill his mother and his sister. The judge pulled Hall's bond and put out a warrant for his arrest.
Try to take your life and then they're released. You just don't have a, feeling that they're not going to try it again or take you out because, they're scared of what may be said in court.
While this person questions why Hall had a chance at a lower bond, they say it's equally important to know why he didn't end up on Vine.
It seems like the suspect is being protected, his rights and information regarding him and not the family.
It's a question I brought here to the Arkansas Crime Information Center, which runs Vine, and found out this is a problem that can come up with juveniles. But when I asked about a solution, there wasn't an answer.
Well, we'll make a notification. We just have to have data.
Rick Stallings helps run Vine. He pins this on how juveniles charged as adults are booked and acknowledged there's a disconnect.
Juvenile comes into the system. If they're labeled as a juvenile, regardless of the agency, it will not go into the Vine system.
That was the case with Hall. Still, Stallings says there's no plan to change the system.
We have to be careful with juvenile offenders because, they may be charged as an adult, but, they go before, first appearance with a judge. They could kick that back to juvenile court. We don't want to violate a juvenile's rights either.
Instead, he says victims and witnesses shouldn't rely on Vine and points them to prosecutors to get that information.
A person should not use Vine as their sole means of notification. They have to do a safety plan.
Victim advocates call it a cop-out.
I think that there's just a gap somewhere there that needs to be fixed.
At Parents of Murdered Children, Amy Adams says she's an advocate for families she works with to make sure a juvenile offender is put on Vine.
You are re-victimizing that family family by not notifying them.
She believes the solution should fall back on the state and not employees at the prosecutor's office.
Any kind of violent crime, you should be put on bond so that families will be notified just in case the victim witness coordinator was sick or they couldn't get a hold of the victim advocate.
Until something changes, there will continue to be the risk of families being kept in the dark.
I wish something was done about it as soon as possible.
Still stuck in hiding, while Hall stays on the run and out of jail.
You want justice, but it doesn't seem like that's taking place.
Since we started asking questions, Hall's information has been posted to Vine. It's a start, but the families want to see a system-wide change. We did learn that Hall was arrested overnight. I reached out to his lawyer, but haven't heard back. Back to you.
All right, Susan, good information, good report.